by the way, 1,500 career points. Miles into the body, scoop to the hoop, goes down. And she is, oh no! And a steal and finish. On Atlanta, it brought the double. Miles took it.
Half court, 24 seconds gone. Olivia Miles catches it, doesn't even think about it, just fires. Ball goes in from half court. Not a heave at the buzzer, not a desperation shot. A first quarter, in rhythm, half-court three that goes in clean while the Las Vegas Aces are still trying to figure out how a rookie point guard just did that to the best team in the league, not named Minnesota. That shot set the tone for the rest of the night, and by the time the final buzzer sounded, Olivia Miles had 26 points, the Lynx had a 98-87 win, and the best record in the WNBA belonged to Minnesota with nobody else close. If you've been sleeping on this rookie season, you need to wake up right now, because what's happening in Minneapolis isn't just a good rookie year anymore. It's turning into one of the defining stories of the entire league. Let's rewind and set the stage, because this wasn't some random Saturday game. This was Minnesota, sitting at the top of the WNBA standings, hosting Las Vegas, the team right behind them, in what everybody in the building understood was basically a playoff preview. Two of the best rosters in the league, two legit championship contenders, going at each other in August with seeding and momentum on the line. And on one side, you've got A'ja Wilson, an MVP caliber player and one of the most decorated names in the sport. On the other side, you've got a rookie who wasn't even guaranteed to be the #1 story on her own team when the season started. Napheesa Collier is an MVP level player in her own right. Kayla McBride's a proven veteran scorer. This was supposed to be Minnesota's game to win as a collective, deep roster, beating a talented but shallower Las Vegas squad. Instead, it turned into the Olivia Miles show, with just enough help from her teammates to close it out. Remember, this rookie didn't just show up unranked and start balling out of nowhere either. Miles was a two-time top recruit-level talent coming out of high school, built her name at Notre Dame for years before finishing her college career at TCU, and entered the 2026 draft as a widely projected top pick. Minnesota took her second overall, and from the jump, she looked like a player who belonged, not a project who needed time to adjust. That's the baseline you need in your head walking into this specific performance. This wasn't a surprise breakout. This was the continuation of a pattern that's been building all season long. Walk through how it actually played out, because the way this game built is the story. Vegas came out aggressive. NaLyssa Smith gave the Aces a lead late in the first quarter on a tough turnaround jumper, putting Las Vegas up 23-22 with a minute left in the opening frame. That's when Minnesota answered, and answered fast. McBride and Miles both hit threes in the final 28 seconds of the quarter, flipping a 1-point deficit into a 28-25 Lynx lead heading to the second. McBride was cooking early too, 4 of 6 from behind the arc for 12 points in that opening stretch, but it was Miles' shot that got everybody's attention, because hers came from half court, in rhythm, not a prayer at the buzzer. Vegas didn't fold though. Give them credit, they clawed all the way back into it. They cut the deficit to a single point twice in the second quarter. First at 44-43, then again at 46-45 with under a minute left in the half. This was shaping up to be exactly the kind of tight, physical, playoff atmosphere game everybody expected from these two teams. Wilson was quiet early, held to just 2 points in that opening quarter while Smith led the way for Las Vegas with 6, which tells you Minnesota's defense had a specific game plan for the reigning MVP caliber talent and executed it well enough to force other aces to beat them instead. And then, with 24 seconds left on the clock before halftime, Miles gets the ball and just calmly buries another 3, pushing Minnesota's lead back to 4 points heading into the locker room, 49-45. That's not just a shot, that's a rookie point guard in a tight playoff preview game against the second best team in the league, taking the biggest shot of the half without blinking. The third quarter is where Minnesota's depth started to separate them. Collier caught fire, scoring 7 straight points for the Lynx to help push the lead out to 72-63. Then their bench got involved in a way that mattered. Dorka Juhas, a reserve, made back-to-back winning plays, first finding Courtney Williams for a 3 on the wing, then Williams returned the favor on the very next possession, setting up Juhas for a 3 of her own from the top of the key. That sequence pushed Minnesota's lead into double figures, 66-55, and from there Las Vegas never really got back into striking range. Jackie Young kept fighting, finishing with a game-high 23 points for the Aces, and Wilson chipped in 16 points, 8 rebounds and 2 blocks, while NaLyssa Smith added 14 points, 11 boards, and 4 assists in a losing effort. But it wasn't enough. Final score, 98-87, Minnesota. All 5 Lynx starters finished in double figures, which tells you this wasn't a one-player carrying job. It was a complete team win. It just happened to have a rookie as the headline. Here's where you separate what actually happened from what got a little exaggerated in the excitement afterward, what's confirmed. Miles finished with 26 points and 7 assists, her season high in scoring at that point, and she did it on efficient shooting while also hitting from half court, which is the kind of moment that doesn't need any embellishment to be impressive. Collier added 22 points, Natasha Howard chipped in 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists, and every Lynx starter scored in double figures. The win improved Minnesota to 26-7 on the season, the best record in the WNBA, and extended their lead over Las Vegas, who dropped to 22-10. All of that is fact, straight from the box score. Now here's the part that got messy. In the immediate aftermath, the Lynx themselves posted on social media that the win had clinched them a playoff berth. Fans ran with it instantly, and why wouldn't they? It came straight from the team's own account. Except the WNBA had to step in and clarify that wasn't actually accurate yet. While extremely unlikely given how dominant Minnesota had been, there were still technically tiebreaker scenarios in play that meant the Lynx hadn't officially clinched anything with that particular win. Outlets that ran with the clinch story initially had to go back and correct it. So if you saw headlines out there saying Minnesota locked up a playoff spot on this exact night, that's not quite right. They were about as safe as a team can be without it being mathematically final, and the actual clinch came shortly after. But the specific claim that this was the clinching game got ahead of the facts. That's a good lesson in how fast a team's own social media post can outrun what's technically true, even when the substance behind it, that Minnesota was a near lock for the postseason, was completely accurate. You also have to separate the half-court shot from the overall shooting narrative around Miles this season, because that's another place where the story can get twisted if you're not careful. Her half-court 3 in this game was a legitimate, in rhythm shot, not a heave. But it's worth remembering that Miles' outside shooting was actually a real question mark earlier in her rookie year. She started the season struggling from 3-point range before turning it around dramatically as the year went on. So a moment like this half-court bomb isn't just a cool highlight in isolation, it's the payoff of an in-season improvement that a lot of rookies never actually figure out. That context is what separates a flashy clip from a genuinely meaningful basketball story. Let's talk about the players who made this game what it was, because context matters here just like it always does. Olivia Miles came into this game already leading every rookie in the league in scoring, sitting right around 19.8 points a game heading in while shooting north of 50% from the field. That's not a hot streak. That's been her entire season. She was the number 2 overall pick out of the 2026 draft, a player who spent years building her game at the college level, first at Notre Dame and then finishing at TCU, known the whole way through for elite shot making, relentless work rate, and ball handling that made defenders look silly on a nightly basis. What's remarkable about this particular game is how she got her buckets. Not just attacking the paint, not just getting to the free throw line off drives. She hit from half court. She hit off a designed set with under 30 seconds left in the first half. She was making winning plays in the biggest moments of a game against one of the best teams in the league, which is exactly the kind of performance that separates a good rookie season from a legendary one. On the other side, you can't talk about this game without respecting what Aja Wilson and the Aces represent. Wilson's one of the most accomplished players in WNBA history, an MVP caliber force whose track record speaks for itself. Las Vegas isn't some rebuilding team either. They came into this game as the clear second best roster in the league, and Jackie Young proved exactly why with a 23-point night of her own. Losing to Minnesota by 11 doesn't erase any of that. It just tells you how good the team at the top actually is right now. It's also worth pointing out how Minnesota's coaching staff managed the defensive matchup on Wilson specifically. Holding an MVP caliber scorer to 2 points through an entire opening quarter doesn't happen by accident. That's schemed. That's a defensive game plan built specifically around limiting Las Vegas's best player and daring everybody else on that roster to beat you instead. Young and Smith answered that challenge individually, but as a full team performance, Vegas came up short against a Minnesota defense that clearly did its homework heading into this one. And that's really the story underneath everything else here. Minnesota isn't just winning because they have one great player. They're winning because they might have the deepest, most complete roster in the league, and now that roster has a rookie who's playing like she belongs at the very top of the food chain alongside established stars. Think about the layers in that third quarter alone. Collier scoring 7 straight to build the lead. Then it's not Miles or Collier who extends it into a blowout, it's the bench.